Real estate investing can actually allow you to build massive wealth and also build some passive income if you do it correctly, and it can also be the fastest way to deplete your life savings if you didn't do it correctly. In this video, I want to walk you through 11 mistakes that I have made in my journey as a real estate investor. Of course, most of these mistakes I made them while I was in my first year as a new real estate investor, as a rookie, as a call-us then, and this is gonna probably happen to someone like you as well, and that's why I'm making this video, so you can learn from my experience, learn from my mistakes, and actually use that to help yourself. Now, you want to stick around to the end because I dropped my top 2 reasons towards the end why you should, really understand what you're doing when you're trying to invest in real estate. If you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Wale Lawal. I am a local real estate agent. I'm also a real estate investor, of course. That's why I'm making this video. And I do invest in the Houston, Texas market, own a couple of single family and multi-family, and I've helped a lot of investors like yourself to take action in real estate. So let's get to it. What is the number one? The number one on my list is not clearly defining my risk tolerance or not knowing exactly what I want. So when I was getting started, like everybody, you listen to the podcast, you were super pumped and you just want to take action, right? While it's good to take action, sometimes you really need to define your risk tolerance. What is too much for me to buy? What will I do? What will I not do? I didn't clearly understand that. So I took action, of course, and some of them were good action, were action in the right direction. Some of them were not so good. So because of that, I sometimes, took more than I can, bite more than I can chew. And that, cost me some pain. I bought a distressed property that I lost good amount of money on. I do have a separate video, which you can see here. That didn't go well, of course, and I learned tons of lessons from that one deal. So number one on my list is not clearly defining my risk tolerance, and that makes me to kind of see any deal as a deal. Right now, I'm very, very critical. I'm very focused on the kind of property I am buying. The number 2 on my list is that at the beginning, I wanted to implement all kind of real estate investing strategies. You see, real estate is very, very complex, and as a newbie, as a beginner, it's extremely important for you to stick to one real estate investing strategy, at least for your first 2 years. Once you figure this thing out, then you can start branching out to other strategies. But as a newbie, I wanted to wholesale, I wanted to fix and flip, I wanted to be a landlord, I wanted to be an agent, and of course, you can tell what happened, right? I got stressed, I got really, really tired, and I lost money, and it also slowed me down from getting the kind of result I would have gotten. It would have been much more faster if I've narrowed down my strategy to at least one for that first 2 years. The number 3 on my list is that not asking for help at the beginning. You see, when you're just getting started, there's a lot of things you don't know, and the fastest way you can shorten your learning curve is to network and ask for help from those that have actually done it. I didn't do that. I was thinking I need to figure everything out myself. I didn't understand the fact that real estate is a team sport, and if only you can ask for help, you can go faster. So I didn't do that again. It cost me a lot of pain, and it cost me a lot of money and some sleepless nights. Number 4 on my list is at the beginning, I was paying too much emphasis on cash flow as compared to appreciation. You see, when you talk to savvy and seasoned or veteran real estate investors, they will tell you that the way they make their money is that they bought that property 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they held onto it, and something happened in the market, the value go up. What does that mean to you? It means that the real wealth is made from holding real estate for a long time. It's not just your $200 or $300 cash flow per door. That's not where you make the money. You make the money and you make the fortune by holding on to the property long enough for you to reap the benefit of real estate. So at the beginning, I was chasing cash flow, so that forced me to buy in a not so good neighborhood, and I'm talking about class D and class C. And of course, you can imagine the quality of the tenants that I was able to attract because I was buying in a class D, class C. We call them war zone here. Now, that is not something I'm doing again. Right now, I'm focusing more on a good neighborhood, great schools. I really don't care so much if I cannot even cash flow, provided I know it's a good neighborhood, it's safe, it's a place I can live myself, I'm gonna buy it. And I have a rule that says anything above 0.75% of the purchase price. So if the purchase price is, let's say, $200,000, right? If I can rent it for anything around $1,500 and above, I'm gonna be buying that property. So that is what I'm doing these days. I'm buying a nicer neighborhood, good schools, no flood zone, and where there's a lot of jobs, because I understand that if I can get all these fundamental right, I will do well holding that property for a long time. The number 5 on my list, this is very, very important. So I was not leveraging on my network, and I was not leveraging on partnership, which is kind of tied to my previous reason. Real estate is a team sport. There is no way you can know everything. There is no way you can do everything. So at the beginning, I was not really leveraging on people I know. I was not trying to get partnership. I was just trying to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to figure all this out myself. I'm just going to do it by myself. Of course, again, that's really slowed me down, and that's, stressed me more than I should have been stressed. So right now, I'm leveraging on partnership. I'm leveraging on people that know what they're doing. Of course, I'm always very careful before partnering with anybody. I want to make sure they know what they're doing. They are very good at what they do. And as a matter of fact, they are people of integrity. They will do what they said they will do. So that is what I'm doing these days, because I understand that we can go faster together. Number 6 on my list is hiring and trusting the wrong contractor. If you talk to experienced real estate investors, they always have one thing in common as their pain point. It is contractor. This is not far-fetched, because contractors are business people or entrepreneurs, and they try to get so many jobs at the same time, and they have a bad reputation of taking advantage of new real estate investor, which I was also a victim as well. Again, you can see that video here. That's where I mentioned how the contractor kind of screwed me up, and I lost about $200,000 buying this distressed property. It's a fourplex in Beaumont, Texas. So this is something that you should be aware of, that if you're buying a distressed property, you will need the help of a contractor. And if you're new, you don't know a lot of things. Now you're going to be at the mercy of that contractor, except that contractor is your uncle, is your very good friend, or it came highly recommended. I would say you should be extremely careful working with contractors. And this is why you want to lower your risk at the beginning. You don't want to buy too much distressed property, because it means that eventually you gonna depend on contractor to help you fix that property and make it look beautiful again. And for you to achieve that, the contractor has to do right. They have to do what they said they're gonna do. If they fail not to do it, if they fail to do what they said they're gonna do, then you stand the chance of losing money. Now let me tell you this, it is more expensive to change contractor in the middle of a job, because the second contractor coming in gonna always find fault on what the first contractor has done. And what does that mean to you as the investor? That means you have to now spend money on something you paid somebody else to do. That could mean that you have to rip off, remove the flooring and do it again, change some light fixtures or change some plumbing, among other things that maybe even especially in the walls, dry walls, they can find it didn't do it well, I need to remove it and do it again. So these are things that you should be aware of when you are dealing with contractors. Yeah, number 7 on my list is not doing home inspection. You see, I'm also a real estate agent, and I know the value of doing home inspection. But for some reason, bought this fourplex, and I was thinking it's already distressed anyway. I'm going to be fixing it up anyway. Why do I need to pay an home inspector $500 to go and give me a report, which I kind of know what is going to be in the report, because I can physically see the property anyway. It's already distressed. I'm going to be doing everything. But I forgot what it's called, structural engineering. So that structural engineering report will have really helped me to make a go or no go decision on that particular property. So I didn't do home inspection. This house has a termite, it was fire damage, and the structure is gone. We couldn't just bring it back to shape. And of course, I was also dealing with a terrible contractor, and eventually it was a loss. It was a nightmare. It was a very hard lesson learned, and I would never do it again. And as a matter of fact, I'm using this as a reference to enlighten and educate anybody that is working with me why they don't want to bite more than they can chew. Because like I said at the beginning, real estate has a tendency to make you a lot of money and build passive income. It also has a tendency to derail and deplete that's your entire life savings, which you don't want for yourself. The number 8 on my list is not running real estate or rental portfolio as a business. You see, as a landlord, either you are small or big, real estate, at the end of the day, it's a business and you have to treat it as such. If you don't treat real estate as a business, first of all, people will take advantage of you. You will not fully optimize your potential as a landlord, and you will continue to have headaches as a landlord. So I didn't treat real estate investing, or I didn't treat my rental portfolio as a business. I was pretty much managing them myself. I was buying it in my personal name. I was doing some commingling of my money with the rental income, so which doesn't make sense. But after 1 or 2 years, I eventually figured out that hey, this has to be business. I started creating a business account, open a bank account for the business, make sure the tenant's income or the rental income is going to a separate account, and of course eventually hire a property manager, so that way I can clearly separate my income from my job, from my real estate agent business, from the rental property. So this is what I've implemented, and it's really working well for me. Of course, I have to pay a property manager, I have to buy some software, I have to pay the bank for helping me to keep my money, but overall they're all worth it. And also I hire a CPA that is doing all the taxes for me, taking advantage of all the cost segregation and all those things that comes with when you run real estate as a business. Number 9 on my list is probably one of the most important one, is buying in the wrong location. You see, location is what you hear about in real estate, and there is a reason why everybody shouts location, because even if you're a terrible landlord, you're a terrible real estate investor, you don't know what you're doing, if you buy in the right location, there is a higher probability you will still make money and you will still build fortune from that real estate. And on the flip side, no matter how good, how experienced, how solid your real estate investing skills are, if you buy in the wrong location, you will still lose money, because everybody want to live in a nice place. They want to live in a place that is safe. They want to put their kids in good schools. And if you have that product, you will always have a customer. You will always have a tenant. You will always have a buyer if you are flipping it. And on the other way around, if you have a not so good property, no matter how nice it is, if the location is not good, people will not come forward for it. So this is something I had to learn the hard way, because at the beginning, like I said, I was buying a Class C, Class D property, a not so good neighborhood that I cannot even live myself. So eventually it didn't work well, of course, and the quality of the tenant I was getting are very, very horrible, very low quality kind of people with a lot of financial issues. So this just kind of tell me that, oh, I did something wrong because I have a terrible product. Now I'm getting not so good tenants, and that was where it was a click for me, like, you did something wrong. You shouldn't have even bought this property in the first place because of XYZ. So take note of that. Don't buy in a wrong location. Sometimes you might have to pay a little bit more to be in a nice location, but even if it appears to you right now or this year that you a little bit pay more for that property, in the next 3 to 5 years, that would not really be an issue for you, because you will have seen the growth that you've received on that property. And on the contrary as well, if you buy in a poor location and you think you got a good deal because I bought it like 70% of the market value of the ARV, then 1 year down the line you see the level of headaches and problems you will have faced on that property. Then at that point you will do you're going to weigh the options yourself and say, oh, I wish I bought in a nicer neighborhood. Number 10 on my list is under budgeting for renovations, especially if you are doing flip. Fix and flip is when you buy property, you renovate them and you sell them, right? Most of the time, new investors always under budget. Let's say the renovation is supposed to cost $80,000. It's very, very common for you to see new investors say, oh, I can do it for $60,000. What the savvy investor would do is to put 10 to 20% buffer on that budget. So if the complete renovation is supposed to be $100,000, you will see a very experienced investor putting the renovation budget in their calculation as $120,000. So they are having that 20% buffer on their renovation budget, because should anything happen, they know they've kind of accounted for it and they will still come out fine. But the new investor will always think they can do it cheaper, which 9.9 out of 10, they always go over budget from what they said they want to spend. The last one on my list, which is probably another very important one you want to take note, is not having a cash reserve for your rental portfolio. The rule of thumb, or the very common opinion from the experts, is to have 3 to 6 months worth of reserve for your rental property. Let's keep it simple. You have a rental property that is renting for $2,000, right? They want you to have at least 3 months worth of reserve for that property. So if you have a property, for example, in Houston, Texas, or Katy, Texas, renting for $2,000, they want you to have 3 months. That means you should have $6,000 as a reserve for that particular property. So let's say you have 10 of those of such property, then you can easily multiply $6,000 times 10. That's $60,000 should be a reserve in a bank account where you don't have easy access to, just for emergency purpose. Because trust me, the emergency will happen. They always happen. They do happen, especially when you buy a not so good property, a very old property. Those things will break on you. The AC is gonna break, the plumbing might break, the tenant might damage something, the toilets will run out of issue. You know, there might be some leak in the house. So this is why you have to keep that emergency reserve. So again, the rule of thumb is 3 to 6 months. The more, of course, the more months you can do, the better. But at the minimum, make sure you are keeping 3 months worth of reserve for every single property you have. These are my 11 reasons. These are my 11 mistakes that I have made, you know, in real estate as a rookie. Again, most of these are at the beginning when I'm getting started. Of course, I've learned way more now. I'm very better at, you know, in terms of investing in real estate. I've also helped over 200 people to take action in real estate. Most of them are investors, and I do have the experience from my personal experience on what I went through and the experience of other investors I've helped, what has worked for them, what did not work for them, what they did right, what they did wrong, you know, and I'm learning from both sides, you know, sitting on the fence and learning from what works and what doesn't work as a real estate agent or as a real estate investor agent. So if you want to take action in real estate, or you resonate with my story, my mistakes, I would say reach out to me. I would like to connect with you. I would like to know your own story as well. Feel free to drop the comment below, and also make sure to share this video with anybody and everybody you think will benefit from this. By doing that, you're going to be really helping my YouTube channel to grow, because YouTube love when you share those videos, and they also love when you drop the comment below. So please make sure you support this channel. Drop the comment below, click on that like button, and also click on that notification bell so I can let you know the next time I have a new video. That being said, don't forget to watch that video that I mentioned earlier. I'll put it here again. You can learn, you know, you can watch the mistakes I made about investing in real estate that cost me almost $200,000. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.